Disastrous floods in Canterbury ruined much wheat last harvest and made a shortage of a commodity in which New Zealand aims to be self-sufficient. The waters piled the sheaves damp and useless against the gorse hedges, for the floods came just after crops had been cut. To meet the shortage, a Canadian wheat ship ties up in Auckland, but as well as grain, she brings the port a problem, for much of the wheat in her holds is in bulk. This hold contains bagged wheat. This is the way New Zealand ports are used to handling grain, and there are no new problems for the stevedore. When it's in bags, each crane can haul out 12 to 14 tons of wheat an hour. For the bulk wheat in another hold, a grab was used, and to receive the wheat on the wharf, large hoppers had been constructed. The two methods are working simultaneously at different holds. Soon the two methods are being compared, and it's found that the crane with a grab is discharging 40 tons of wheat an hour, or 3 times as much as a crane slinging bags. Canada sent this wheat to replace the South Island's ruined harvest, and one way and another, New Zealand gets it ashore. Masseurs are still the important persons in a physiotherapy department. Much of their work now is repairing the injuries of war. Damaged and misplaced muscles are made useful again in this clinic, a part of the Wellington Public Hospital, which treats returned servicemen exclusively. Nowadays, there are many innovations. A bubble bath gently massages the limb and stimulates circulation. By dipping a hand into hot wax, heat up to 130 degrees can be applied, well above the temperature at which water would scald. Small electric currents do the work of nerve impulses and keep muscles alive until voluntary movement returns. When nerve fibers have grown again, children's toys teach coordination, strengthen muscles, and increase voluntary action. These exercises, simple enough for most of us, are often performed only after hours of tedious concentration and effort. This is a real achievement for muscles which have become weakened. This one would be difficult for anyone. On specialized devices, joints flex up and muscles are strengthened. Gymnastics help to get limbs working again. Returned servicemen come every day to this clinic, for it is only by persistence and continual striving that they make progress. Springs, by taking the weight of a limb, enable patients to exercise weakened muscles to greater advantage than otherwise would be possible. And so, by careful treatment, men resume their former activities. They play games, fit themselves for work and a normal life. This is the rehabilitation of weakened limbs. The Strathmore arrives from Toronto, Italy, where she embarked 3,000 men of the New Zealand Division, many of them ex-prisoners of war. The weather being brilliantly fine and the day a holiday, numbers of relatives and friends visited the waterfront to welcome the men. Old memories are revived by Kiwis from earlier drafts as they wait patiently for their pals to come ashore. The men whose homes are the furthest away are the first to disembark. These are chaps from the South Island who still have a short voyage ahead. The South Islanders pass through to an adjoining wharf where they find the Rangatira waiting. It's to be a special daylight trip, and for these lads, the last lap of a long journey across the world. Back at the Strathmore, the next batch to disembark are those for the Auckland and Hawke's Bay areas. That is, all except one. Taking time out to greet old friends, these lads find it all too short. There's a rush for the train, and soon they're off to Auckland and Hawke's Bay, homeward bound at last. While the Wellington men disembark later on in the afternoon, the Rangatira sails out of the harbour, bound for Lyttelton.